I don't know.
Do I have any friends who are referring this to?
I don't believe in that. Sorry.
Okay, good.
But yeah, okay. So, getting back to the surah like it. Yeah? Unfortunately, with the surah like it, Edip has failed to look at alternative interpretations the way he did for 19. This is what I mean by subjective bias. You look at something only when it suits you, and then you claim I'm objective. Okay. Well, if you look at the verse, one of the verses, which is really my favorite one regarding surah like it, is chapter 10, verses 35 all the way to 42. Once again, when you rip it out of context, it won't fit. Verse 38 there says, or do they say he forged it? Bring a surah like it, and call to your aid anyone whom you can besides Allah if you speak the truth. So, for traditionalists, they believe that this refers historically to the literary excellence of the Quran. Unfortunately, this is out of context. If you read it from verse 35, it says, say, of your partners, is there any that can give guidance towards the truth? Then the reply, say, it is God who gives guidance towards the truth. This is a key phrase, yeah? Guidance towards the truth. Yahdi ilal haq. And is he who gives guidance to truth more worthy to be followed, or he who finds not guidance unless he is guided? What then is the matter with you? How do you judge? God is asking you, how do you judge? How do you judge who gives guidance? Let's continue. Most of them do follow nothing but conjecture, and conjecture cannot avail against the truth. We're still talking about the truth. And God is well aware of what they do. Now listen to this. This Quran cannot be produced by other than Allah. On the contrary, it is a confirmation of what is before it and an explanation of Al-Kitab. There is no doubt in it. Al-Kitab is the book from the Lord of the worlds. Now comes our favorite verse. Or do they say he forged it? Or do they say he forged it? The verse does not appear out of nowhere. It's only when you say, okay, it means literary excellence, you ignore the context. And that is exactly what it is. Then it says, bring us a surah like it, and call to your aid anyone besides Allah if you speak the truth. That is how you get to compare the Quran. Read the Quran, understand its message. Don't say its message is narrations from the past, like some people, and you compare it. That is how the Quran becomes irreproducible, without any kind of comparison.
Can I just explain this? Sorry,
Sure.
His position is that surah is basically pointing to the numerical miracle of the Quran, the construction of the Quran.
Yes.
And it basically that means it proves that the Quran is the word of God, correct? You get that, okay? The traditional position is that it's a literary excellence.
Indeed.
Okay. You see what you're saying that we're talking about, that's the expressive point to the reformist nature of the Quran.
It's guiding us towards the truth.
Is that position? No way.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I read from the context. Again, I'm not objective. I'm a subjective reader of the Quran. I read what I can, so I cannot claim objectivity. I may find something else later on.
But isn't that a little subjective in a sense?
Circular tautology.
Because I'm not saying it's sort of subjective in the way that everything is. Because
it is subjective.
Yes, because if that's reformist, anyone can claim for any particular philosophy that they've been reformed by that particular book.
Exactly.
So that's the problem I've got with it.
That's not a problem at all.
I mean,
in fact,
I'm not saying I don't know much about the American miracle. I haven't really investigated, but that particular it's a bit like the literary. It's a book called Farouk A Peru.
yes, sure.
Yeah, and
what's your name?
My name's Darren.
Thank you very much for preaching.
Yeah.
So,
So
to finish, please.
sorry about
So
that.
you said you're going to hand over to 225.
Oh well, I can't now, can I? I mean, I've just been sorry. I've got a few points as well.
Keep going.
Okay.
Well, we're going to stop at 2:30.
Stop.
2:21.
Oh, okay. Right. So, okay, basically, to wrap up, here's what I see the position is. Edip's essential position is this. He is objective. Anyone who disagrees with him is blind. It's as simple as that, really. But in his speech, he does actually mention that Rashad Khalifa sometimes hit this and that, meaning there was experimentation. He mentioned that he played by digits. That's the words he used as well. Played with your digits. That does not mean that he was playing around. No, what it means is he was experimenting. He was experimenting. And that's well within his rights. I'm not going to say, oh, he's a disbeliever for doing that. But no, when you actually do something of a human nature towards the text, you are no longer being objective. And I will now demonstrate the lack of objectivity. Yeah? These are the parts of my presentation which Edip did not address. Not counting the Bismillahs for other surahs. Now, for the word, let's say the word Allah, okay? The word Allah, they counted 2698 counts of the word. In that count, they counted the first Bismillah, which is Fatiha, but not any other Bismillahs. Now, Edip fights for Bismillah to be 19 letters. Yet, for
and
this...
27, chapter 27, verse 30 also counted the number.
Would you mind allowing me to finish?
Well, in
please?
my name you say something which is wrong. I have to correct you. Correct me too.
No, let him
Yeah.
finish. Don't interrupt him.
So, 112 Bismillahs are not counted here. This is scientific. It's as scientific as giving different exams to different ethnicities and claiming one ethnicity is smarter than the other. That's as objective and scientific as it is. So here I have to ask, why on earth do you not include the Bismillah? The answer is very simple. If you include the other Bismillahs, the count will fail. You include another 112 Bismillahs, the count will fail. Why don't you include it? What gives you the right to say it shouldn't be in there? You don't have the right to do it. You are asserting the right, and you are claiming those who don't agree with that particular experiment as ingrates, hypocrites, rejectors, etc. This is another kind. Edip admitted to being fundamentalist there, and I have to say, for a person who is after Islamic reform, being a fundamentalist is simply a denial of our human nature. Next, subjectivity, removal of verses 928 to 129. There are some people on the internet who found that the so-called false verses which Edip has removed to have a 19 code in them. Can you believe that? They are rejected by the 19ers, but they have 19 code in them. For example, the number of letters in both these verses is 114, 19 times 6. The total value of the first and last letters is 190, 19 times 10. 19th word in those two verses is the word Allah. This is what we're being told. You see, it's very easy to just construct these numbers. I don't believe in these two verses because of this. I believe in it because it's dhikr, which is another verse which Edip misquoted. Edip quoted chapter 15, verse 9, and he said, Inna nahnu nazzalna al-Qur'an. Actually, no, the word is not Qur'an. The word is dhikr. That is a key word in understanding the preservation of the Qur'an, the word dhikr. So, unfortunately, we have been fed a bill of goods, just so 19 looks good.
5 more minutes.
5 minutes, brilliant. Okay. Selective use of hadith. Now, Edip mentioned in his 30-minute exposition, he said, one guy, he said, can I just use one hadith? And Edip said, absolutely not. Guess what? Have a look at 19, God's signature in nature and scripture, page, I think about 440, thereabouts. There's a whole document by Asha Musa about how hadith is used to falsify 9, 128, 129, the two so-called false verses. Why did you use hadith then? Again, double standard, confirmation bias. You see, the thing is, and I'll close with this because I can't address all the other mistranslations which Edip made. To close, quite simply, I'll have to say this. I'm not claiming to be an objective reader of the Quran. I'm not claiming to be infallible. But at the same time, I am saying those who propagate the 19 theory are not objective. They will keep looking for 19. Edip admitted that. He said he played around with it until he found the right digits. So what more needs to be said? You're a human being, and yet you want to say, okay, well, you know what? Those who disagree with the code, they are ingrates. Really, it's not disagreeing with the code, it's disagreeing with your count of the code. That's the difference. Thank you very much.